That's all live. That's it. Going live. Okay, we are now live with our third week in a row. This is the most times we've actually done this in a row. 3 times in a row, we are now live with the A.D.K weekly talking random bollocks for about half an hour, really, I think is pretty much what it is. We are the gatekeepers of metal. Metal! And
You're sticking with that then, I see. It wasn't just a throw your toys out.
I'm going full on now. I'm literally every song that we review, I'm going to be like, is it metal? Is it getting past us? Are we going to allow it? Not the band, the song. We're going to do. I think it has to be like almost 50% of the song has to adhere to the ideals of what a metal song is, and not just what we think a metal song is what when you type into like Wikipedia, what is a heavy metal song? What do they define it as? I.e., drums, heavy guitars, distorted guitars, whatever it might be. It needs to have that in it. If it isn't, it ain't fucking metal and it ain't going in.
Can I just mention Wikipedia, by the way? I got caught out recently on a review of a Dutch
Did you just copy and paste?
metal band. No, listen to this. According to their Wikipedia profile, their 2006 album was produced by Rick Rubin. It fucking wasn't. So
Well,
the PR company like, yeah, someone's put this on Wikipedia. Because I was thinking, when you do an intro paragraph in a review, what do people know about this band? They're like, the signed to Metal Blade Records. Oh, wow. Rick Rubin has produced one of the records. He hasn't.
this is the problem when you basically read what's on the internet and you believe it to be true. Talking about American politics.
Definitely do not go into that. We're politically neutral on this channel.
Yeah, except for I hate Donald Trump. But apart from that, I'm politically neutral. He's a twat. Right. Anyway, let's get to some news topic. Oh, actually, no, we should do an update on the channel. So there's not a huge amount apart from we have obviously the 7th of November show tomorrow evening with Cerebral Scar, Broken States, Race the Devil, and of course, Acts of Vengeance. So come on down to that one. Should be a great night. And then the next one we've got is 5th of December, where we have our Doom night. Bit of Doom. Don't know why I want to go Scottish when I say that, but Doom. So Doom.
From Doom to the Doom night.
Bring a Doom.
And who have we got on that one? We've got Conquered Gods and House of Heartbeats, Dread Beggar, and Black Skull Ritual. And then we've obviously got a big metal night for our Christmas do on the 19th of December is the last one for this year, but we have got for next year, we've got plenty coming up. There are some bands that I've already confirmed, so I can tell you a few bands that we've definitely got dates booked in for.
We've passed, isn't it, Dave? Apart from one.
Sorry?
I said your 2025 lineup is news to me apart from one.
I know, I haven't told you yet.
Yeah.
Well, about to find out.
So I know, that's what I'm saying. Go for it. Exclusive.
So I'm not going to tell you the dates that they're playing, but the bands that have so far confirmed with me with definites, and there are a lot of bands that I'm speaking to who are just trying to finalize dates, and there are a lot of bands that have already emailed me more bands than we've actually got slots for the whole year. I'm just working through trying to put the best shows together. So we have confirmed to play for 2025. We have Lilith's Army. We have Heartstrung, we have Invicta, we have Hereward, we have Scarlet Envy, we have Lucid High, we have By Virtue Fall, we have Own Your Life, we have Silver Hex, we have Broken States, and Before the Sirens Are Coming Back Again for a show in May, supporting Black Coast and Rituals, who are on a UK tour. We have Soldiers of Rage. I'm waiting for the definite confirm they can do it, but In Winter's Grasp. We have the Ingester. We have Telescribe. We may have Spectral Darkwave. I'm not sure on Spectral Darkwave. We're just trying to firm up the date on that one. And then the rest of the ones, we've got plenty of bands like Planet Fatale, Switchblade City, For the Forsaken, Black River Dogs.
Can we get Tribe of Ghosts? Are there any slots? Tribe of Ghosts would be good, wouldn't it? It's a headline one.
Haven't contacted me yet, and this is one thing I will throw out there is the bands that we know on the channel, Hertfordshire-based bands and stuff, haven't really got back to me or haven't put in forms, and I'd really recommend bands do complete the online form on the ADK Rock Metal website. The only reason being is it tells me all the dates and they can tick off the dates they can do, which makes my life a lot easier when I'm trying to put a schedule together, rather than what I'm having to do currently with bands where I'm having to email bands like Sentient and Kadama and Muskill going, right, I'm thinking, well, that might be a really good metal night. Can you do that date? And then I have to wait ages, like 2 days, until I get a response. And then they're like, oh, no, one of our guys is on holiday that day. Okay, can you do that date then? And then I have to wait another couple. So suddenly I've now waited a week to try and find one band to fill that one slot, by which point I could have filled it with all these other bands that are from outside of the area that want to come here and play. So
not that you're bitter,
my life
Dave.
a lot
Not at
easier
all.
if the local
You're not
band
bitter.
just well, the point is that I'm not going to wait around forever for when I'm filling these slots. So if the bands don't get back to me on it, then what I will be doing is I'll just be giving it out to other bands that are coming in, because we're getting people sending in wanting to play. We've got one band, where are they? I can't remember if they're on my list here. They are somewhere on here, from Scotland. And I was like, it's a Thursday night in Cambridge, mate. And he was like, yeah, we're happy for that. I'm like, they're going to drive from Scotland to play for some reason.
Are you able to divulge the one you sneakily leaked to me earlier? Are they confirmed?
They are. So I've got to go back to the more details. But on the March 27th, we will also have Vicious Nature will be playing, and they'll be playing on the bill with Telescribe. And that will also have Silver Hex on there and one other band, which I think I'll get an answer back today on, which I know who that think. And that again will be a band that I know Andy will like. It's an Andy lineup for this.
I'm just trying to think which doom metal band that'll be.
Well, there are some there, like for instance, there are some lineups I really want to do. So in my head, I wanted to do a lineup for later in the year, which would be Nomadic Rain, Earthbound, Aeronaut, and Denali. Thought it'd be a cool lineup. So that's one of the ones I wanted to do. I've got another lineup which is 10 Plagues with Dead Flesh, In God's Way, and Rive. I thought would be another good lineup.
Progressive deathcore.
Kadama and Extreme Death Art in Winter's Grass and Soldier's Rage I want to put together. Swarm, Sentient, Whilst We Explode, I want to get in them. So there's quite a few. I mean, for the rock night, I want to do a Black River Dogs, Planet Fatale, For the Forsaken, and Switchblade City for a rock night. So there's a lot of bands I think would work really well, but just trying to get them all available on the same night is the challenge. But again, a lot of these bands haven't sent the forms in, so I'm having to do the legwork. So again, if people are interested in playing, send me the forms in and we can have a look at it and try and get these lineups sorted. But at least we have the 30th of January one is now sorted with Heraldwood doing the headline. We've got half of the February one done. We've got half the March one done, and we've got half of the April one done. So we're kind of half the bands are in place for most of these. So I'm just kind of trying to get the first quarter done.
I mean, there might be some that just don't want to do it. They might think.
But I don't mind. So if any of the bands like in the local scene are not interested, but if any of the bands in the local scene are not interested, I'll just be rather they're like, no, it's fine. We don't want to do a Thursday night at the 66 bar. I'll be like, cool. I won't worry about it. I'll move on. I've got a lot of other bands to have a look at, so I don't have a problem with that. I just what I don't want to have is a lot of the bands that I've mentioned, etc., contacted us last year after we'd already booked all these venue bills. They're like, oh, we would have played. Can we not get on the bill? And I'm like, I've already filled it. And they're like, well, but why not put us on? I was like, I will put you on for 2025. And now I can't get hold of you to put you on 2025. So, yeah, get back to us, people. A lot of people have been emailed or messaged. So please just do get back to me so I can at least try to get these lineups sorted out, because the sooner the better, to be honest. Right, so that's what I had as far as local stuff. Andy, what have we got in the news section? What do you want to talk about?
Couple of news items that sort of interested me this week. Morbid Angel.
Oh, yeah.
Due to do a 25-date US tour under the title of Devastation of the Nation. It's put together by an organisation called Vox and Hops Podcast. I guess it's all around North America. I haven't got the actual sort of states and cities. Suffocation were on the lineup as well. A couple of other bands I've never heard of. Fulci, I think you've mentioned them, Kirk, in on the channel, and Mortiferum. So it's probably a decent tour. I haven't got the reason why, but Morbid Angel have announced that they're not going to perform on this tour. I can't find any sort of information as to why they're pulled out. Morbid Angel currently consists of Trey Azagtoth, Steve Tucker, and probably some other members. But in their place is the I suppose you call it the Morbid Angel tribute band featuring David Vincent and Pete Sandoval called I Am Morbid. And I don't know if they've got any of their own sort of material, but they'll certainly do classic Morbid Angel tracks, and they are now the headlines of this tour. So there's a bit of a strange sort of turn of events. I mean, looking at the comments from fans, it's like I'm actually quite pleased about that because we've got the classic Morbid Angel members, you know, one of the best drummers in the world, and the front man that is iconic with a Morbid Angel, David Vincent, sort of now performing Morbid Angel tracks. And then there's others saying, well, I don't really want to see a Morbid Angel cover band. I want to see the real thing, Trey Azagtoth. So, yeah, a bit of a split opinion there, but that's what's happening regarding that tour.
Is there a My Dying Bride moment going on in that band?
Possibly, but, you know, I have looked, but, you know, if anybody can sort of fill in the gaps and find out why the Morbid Angels have decided to pull out of this 25-date tour, would be interesting. But
maybe they're all going to join As I Lay Dying.
Maybe, yeah.
Become members.
I don't think it's the right genre. Bit more money in that for them, though, probably, wouldn't there? Although, let's not forget, Morbid Angel were actually on a major label in the 90s, weren't they? Probably had some healthy advances during the day.
True.
Okay. Yeah, following that.
I don't know anything more about it, but interesting to find out if we can for next week's one.
Yeah.
What happens on that? What else you got for us?
Sort of more grassroots and local. Our friends and Hertfordshire band Praetorium were due to play at the B2 in Norwich this Friday with I think a sort of 3 or 4 band lineup. It was going to be headlining. You mentioned the Scottish band earlier. Was an Operation Cunt Destroyer, was it? Have they approached you? Probably not.
No.
What a name for that.
Yeah. So they were going to come down and play Norwich, headline this sort of sludge, death, doom night at the B2. They couldn't make it, so they were replaced by War Crab, which is another sort of sludgy death metal band who've been around since 2012. And the promoter sort of, I have met him and I do sort of know him. He said, are you going? I said, well, there's a possibility that I might, because my partner's dad lives walking distance from the venue, and we would have been able to go up this Friday and, you know, see a good night and support our friends in Praetorium. That was, I think, Tuesday. Today, I see the whole event's been cancelled.
Yeah, I saw that on the Facebook.
What was the reason?
Well, I went on to ask him that, and you're not going to be surprised, Dave, and I'm sure you could guess, but I was one of the 3 or 4 people who said they might go. There've been absolutely no pre-sale tickets sold.
Yeah.
Which is really, really disappointing, not only for the people involved in this show, the bands, the promoter, the venue, but just grassroots metal and shows in general. I mean,
it's an interesting
Friday night, a good venue with a decent lineup, and the best data you can gather is that 4 people might have been interested in going.
We have seen this go from place to place. Where if you look at grassroots, doing advanced sales is a nightmare, because certain things like was it Escalon are doing a show at the 66 Bar on Saturday, sold out. That event, it's an all-dayer. Now, I think that's primarily because of the headliners, because they're at a higher level of band. So, and I know they're from that kind of area. If I remember, they are anyway. So this is almost like a big homecoming. So they could sell out. They could do 100 tickets themselves for a show. So that's how they've built that following. They've built a crowd, etc. Us really struggled. Again, we've got for our event, we've got early bird, cheap price tickets to try and generate a crowd. We've been promoting every day. Now, we could go down the route of, and I actually have got an ad running on the Facebook stuff. We've got posters put up. We've been leafleting. We're putting it in front of as many people. We're trying every different way of saying about this gig. Here's a cartoon chick with her tits pushed up in her face. Come to the gig. I mean, we're literally trying anything we can to try and promote a show. And we just see the odd ticket drip through here and there. And we saw it with Kane. Kane been around for years, had loads of great support bands on them, and again, really struggled. We had a few good shows where they had a decent turnout. Rest, you see the pictures and you go, yeah, it's a mediocre crowd. I'm curious. There's two things. One, why don't people buy advance tickets that often? Is there a you do for your big bands, but for grassroots, is it a case of because we all go to gigs? I kind of know why I don't buy advance tickets, but I'm curious from each of you why you don't buy advance tickets very often.
You're locked in, aren't you? Even if it is £5, £10, you're locked in. And from a personal point of view, I don't always fancy it on the night for whatever reason.
But they're a band that you want to see, aren't they?
Yeah, true. I don't know. It's the hassle. It's the hassle as well. I mean, I have bought advance tickets, and when you go through the rigmarole of logging into the link, logging into the account if it's one you've used before,
paying the booking fee,
transaction process, pay the fee, you're ending up like
50p less.
I'm not going to name the sort of location, but it's like, yeah, it's literally 80p, 70p less than if you paid on the door, and you think, oh, I'll just pay on the door.
Yeah, if I am going to go, and that's the thing. Is in my head, I'm like, in most cases, the bands that we have, I'm like, I'll wait and see if on that night I feel like I'm in the mood for it. Because if not, I'm playing another gig somewhere else local at some point soon anyway, so I'll just catch them the next time. Or maybe if there's a 4-band lineup, I like 2 bands on the bill. So I'll wait for them to play another gig where they might have a better lineup with more bands on the bill that I'll actually like.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments, Dave.
I think this is an appeal to altruism. I echo what you've both said. I want to make the decision on the day. Really, what we need to be pushing and campaigning and educating people is, look, we know that there's no money in music, but especially at grassroots, even if you can't make it on the night, see it as a donation. The reasons why we need you to buy tickets in advance are X, Y, and Z. So I think it's just about getting that message out there. But the only thing is that is special pleading, isn't it? You're basically saying, please, can you buy some advance tickets? Because then we know the show might be able to go ahead if we've got 30 people that have definitely paid in advance. It's appealing to people's rational side, knowing that even if they can't go, they are still supporting the scene. And it's really hard, isn't it, to push that message?
Do you think like the reverse psychology works on this one? Because it doesn't work on me. It actually puts me off. So where you get venues or bands who go, oh, we're down to the last few tickets remaining. Grab your tickets. Make sure you grab your tickets now before you miss out. Or we've got a low ticket warning for this show. And I'm like, I've seen bands do it for gigs that we've got. And I'm like, what do you mean we sold 6 tickets?
Yeah, sometimes they're being disingenuous, aren't they?
And I just look at that because if there's a gig that I was in and ahhing about and I was a bit indifferent about, and I'm like, I want to support our friends, but I'm not too sure. And then they go, oh, it's a low ticket one. I'm like, oh, that's all right. They'll have plenty of people there, so I won't bother then.
Yeah.
And so that makes me if they went, we've got hardly anyone coming, it'd be really good. I'd be like, oh, I'll definitely turn up then. I'll support you. And that's what puts me off when I've had bands tell me that. They're like, oh, we've got just a few tickets left. Make sure you grab it. I'll be like, oh, they'll be fine if I don't go. Then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's an odd one. It really is. I mean, I understood the ticket pricing bit about advanced tickets versus on the door. So you got to get that right. But here's the other thing that I used to think about when I used to go to gigs younger. The gig part, the band was not the big part of it for me. It was a big thing. Like if we went to see a band, like even if it was like a big band like Megadeth or something, or bands that I saw in my youth, it was the night out experience.
Yeah, it's the fraternity, isn't it?
But it was the drinking as well. And it would be like a big night out with your friends. You'd have a load of beers. It'd be a fun night. It'd be crazy. You'd stagger in after 8 or 9 pints, and it would just be a big party. You can't do 8 or 9 pints without having like remortgaging your house at the moment. That's the other thing is like you look at the price of alcohol going to a gig, but you're going in there and you're paying £5.50 for a pint. So you have a couple of those, and it then becomes less about a chill unwind. The only thing you can then really focus on is purely the music. And I just remember I had so many fun times when I was younger at gigs, but it was jump in the mosh pit, go crazy. But I'd always remember I'd be drinking, and that would be part of the experience. I just wonder if the fact that nowadays you can't afford to do that any often. So going out is going out, you need 50 quid in your pocket just to have like 5 or 6. If there's 2 of you, 50 quid will get you what, 4 rounds? That's it.
Isn't the message as well? I mean, I know it almost sounds a bit woolly, doesn't it? It's like, come down, see your friends, new faces welcome. And it does make sense, doesn't it, when venues and bands are saying, you know, we're inclusive, we're open to everyone. That does make sense, doesn't it? You do want as many people as possible to come to your gig. And that language, I used to think, oh, okay, you're just saying that to be politically correct. They're not. When you think about it, you want people who've never seen you live before, but you want people to be in an environment where they can go on their own, whether they're male or female, and meet people. And if they don't want to meet people and just want to stand at the bar and drink, that's fine. You can just go there, be yourself. Again, it's hard to get that message out, isn't it? So like you said, Dave, we're appealing to fraternity. I agree with you. I remember once getting absolutely smashed at an Anthrax gig in Manchester in 2003. It'll have been at Manchester Academy 2. I only remember the first 2 songs. After that, I just went to the bar and got hammered.
I bet you in the back of your head, you still thought it was a great night.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. One of the best gigs I've been to. And I love Anthrax.
I do think the problem is if you were to try and think about going out for a night out, you would literally look at it and go, like when we have Metal to the Masses on those Sundays, you know that you're there for a big period of time and so forth. When Metal to the Masses is on every Sunday for 4 or 8 weeks, sorry, that's the 66 bar engineer phoning me, for 4 or 6 weeks, for instance, that's it. You don't go to any other gigs during that period of time because you can't bloody afford to.
I love that period. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. Metal to the Masses next year. I'm already looking forward to it because you know what you're doing though, don't you? For those in the past, it's been as long as 12 weeks. Was it?
But then 17.
Yeah, but that's in my calendar every year. I know what I'm going to be doing for that. But I love it.
But you got to remember, during that period of time, everyone just sort of says, if Metal to the Masses is on, don't bother putting on a metal gig around that time.
Yeah, I understand.
No one's going to go to it because everyone's can only people can afford one gig that week if you're lucky. And that's the problem. It's the cost. And the worst thing is it's not the ticket price. The ticket price, we've talked about this before, the ticket price is the lowest price of all the things you do that night.
Yeah.
Which means the bands get bugger all, the promoter gets bugger all, but the fans then pay
a weekend as well, isn't it? Because
I was actually thinking about it today. I was like, if you went back 20 years ago and thought, well, how much is a 4-pack of beer? £3? About that. And in the pubs, it was what, £2 a pint? So you're like, okay, so you're doing what? You're almost doubling basically. So let's say it was a pound a can, and it was £2 a pint you could buy in the pub. Now it's £1.50 a can, and it's £6 a pint. You're like, hang on, so all of it's gone into the venue rates? It's not down to the alcohol because the price of the home bought stuff hasn't gone up by that much.
No, that's true.
But the stuff in the bars has, because they've got to cover all their rates. So what we've got to do is get the rates down for these venues so they can bring the price of beer down for everyone and actually start to make it worth doing. Because
then you got wages going up as well every April.
Yeah.
For venues and small businesses to pay out on.
But it's just a vicious thing going on there. But yeah, interesting discussion. Let's move on. Kirk, what you got?
Oh, local news. I'll follow up on what Andy was saying. The band Praetorian. So we've got the date for their debut album Pylon Cult. It's going to be out on the 21st of January 25 via APF Records. And their lead single, I've not seen the video yet, but I love the title, Fear and Loathing in Stevenage. You know, a homage to Hunter S. Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I'm looking forward to watching that video. And that came out yesterday, Tuesday, 5th of November. Internationally, I think you've seen the clip. I want to talk about Alpha Wolf vocalist Lockie Keogh dragged off stage by a security guard at the San Francisco show 2 days ago, Monday, the 4th of November. Have you both seen the 15-second clip?
Yeah, it doesn't give us any context.
Yeah, I'll give you some context. So the band's argument, they were frustrated because if you watch the clip, the longer version of it, there's one person crowd surfing, and then there's 2 security guys, you know, at the gate, and both of them just let him drop. So they could have, you know, they had enough people, because that's one of the things you need to do. Crowd participation and management, don't you? And if moshing and crowd surfing's allowed in the venue.
Well, was crowd surfing allowed in the venue?
Yeah, it was. So you do need security who understand that ritual, procedure, whatever you want to
How
call
many
it.
security?
Say that again?
How many security did they have across the front?
It didn't say, but when you look at that video, there were two of them. One of them was enjoying the music, to be fair. And so he's ignored it, and another one has. Now, what's happened is the singer has seen this. So it's during a song called Akudama. He's seen this person drop and no one come to collect him at the end. And he's gone over and grabbed the beanie hat off the security guard because the security guard's got his back to him. He's grabbed that off him. So the security guard's like, what the fuck? Grabbed him by the ankle and just dragged him off stage. So there is some antagonism there from the singer, but his argument is you've just allowed someone to nearly break their neck by being negligent. You know, security, you don't know what a gig like this is, what you're doing here. So the other thing is as well, though, one of the guitar players then throws his bloody guitar into the audience, aiming for the security guard. Now, that's the one thing that could actually be considered assault. So I did watch a quick summary from the great Tank the Tech, who is an expert, isn't he, as a tour manager. And he says basically all parties could be liable for lawsuits. And that's why the band haven't wanted to talk about it and want to move on.
Yeah.
But it is quite scary, isn't it, when you see a singer grabbed by his ankle and dragged off stage?
So what? Sorry, go on, Andy.
So one of the musicians puts his instrument down, probably the guitarist, I think, and sort of lays into the situation. But the bass player, he always like does this, doesn't he?
Yeah, that is fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
So I mean, from what I heard there, obviously there has to be some form of investigation. Now, maybe, the person who's a security guard is potentially not doing his job. But that's not how you handle that situation. The best way I've ever seen a band handle that situation is they just stop the song, gone, whoa, stop, 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 and then they called the security guard out and said, whoa, stop everything. That's how you handle a situation like that. If something goes like that, you stop it, you call it out, and you raise awareness of it. What you don't do is grab the guy from behind, effectively, who now has been like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Because what he's then going to do, his first thing is, if he's been looking out and not watching the band, he's going to think, is that a stage diver or someone's got on stage? And he's going to try and grab them off the stage. I guarantee that's what the guy's going to say. The security guard is going to say...
That's not what he had in his mind, though. He might use that as a explanation, but seeing his hat's hardly crime in the century, is it?
No, all he's seen, though, he's had his hat taken, he's turned around, there's some guy there like that at him. He's like, shit, get him off the stage.
Nah, don't buy that.
Personally,
I'm going to drag you off the stage because he shouldn't be there. He doesn't know what he's doing. Hence the context that Kirk said, where he's let the crowd surf,
that's negligence. So that could be that he's either not been trained, which means he shouldn't have been in that job in the first place. He's not capable of the job and has just been employed and doesn't know what his responsibilities are. So he may have been told by the guy that's overseeing security, going, look, these crowds get rowdy, just step back, and only if they get too close to the stage, sort of thing. I don't know. And that's the problem. You need to understand what's been his instructions. Now, he may have been given completely the wrong instructions, but that's where the band should not have dealt with it the way they've done. And throwing the bass player's a twat for doing that. He's got it all heated up. He's defended his bandmate.
Other crowd members, couldn't he? That's the thing.
He could have killed someone with it.
He's more likely to hurt an innocent person, a bystander, than the actual person he threw it at.
Unfortunately, what you're talking about adrenaline. You're talking everyone's hot-tempered. It'll all settle itself down. But just generally, as a band, the only thing you can do, the best thing you can ever do if something goes wrong or something's going on. I've seen it where people have been like, someone's been grabbing a woman in the audience and the singer's clocked it, and he just stops the set and he's like, "Oi, you, get out, get him out of here. That's assault. You're out. Go." And that's the sort of shit that bands have to do. They've got to stop the show and call it out and get the lights up, everything. And that's what they should have done. If that was people were getting dropped and the security were doing nothing, stop the show for a second, call it out. That's the thing you do on it. Anyway, that message comes from Dave Does. Dave Does Security.
That's it from me in terms of the news.
Okay, a couple of ones. Obviously, we had Tim from As I Lay Dying has issued a statement. We obviously talked about As I Lay Dying last week about how everyone else had left apart from Tim. it's quite a long statement, so I'm not going to read through it. But basically, he acknowledges that he's pretty much been difficult, and there's been some conflicting issues between the band and disagreements and not seeing eye to eye, and the way he's handled things. So he's just going to move forward with a load of new people instead. As I lay down, so it'll just be him plus a load of new musicians. Which again, I'm like, but is that As I Lay Dying, or is it just is As I Lay Dying just the Tim solo project basically with hired musicians? I think it is. And also he's putting the album out, which they've all recorded, but left the band. I don't know. I mean, that feels a bit odd.
No,
would you, if you were doing this, would you get a load of new musicians in and just re-record the album with them involved, or just say sod it, it's going out? And
second option, I think. I mean, it's, you say about. I mean, this situation reminds me at various times during Def's career. Chuck Schuldiner fired or they left. Every other member of his band. There's not many. There's very few. Maybe one or two, or maybe there's two that got the same lineup, recording lineup. So I don't think you can say. I mean, if he's a driving force, the main person in As I Lie Dying, not a band I know, then if they've all gone for whatever reason, he's hired new musicians. I don't think that's a solo project, and they can carry on under that name. But as for the album, yeah, it's recorded. I think it's coming out. Is it next week? Next Friday? This one?
Yeah, it's out this month, November. Yeah.
You just got to stick it out. Deal with the situation, tour it if need be with these new guys, and move on.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not really an As I Lay Down. I think we have covered them once on the album.
Yeah, we did. We looked at some of the songs. 2006 era, didn't we?
Yeah, it was an old one. So yeah. Talk about older bands, Sepultura.
What are they doing?
So Sepultura, current Sepultura, have said that they would welcome back the Cavalera brothers for the final show of their final tour for a jam on stage if the Cavalera brothers were up for it. However, I'm just going to say from a news point of view, it's never going to happen. Cavalera brothers have clearly stated they wouldn't get back on stage in Sepultura in this format. I mean, it's never going to happen. They're not going to come on stage and come on for like after Sepultura have just done like Refuse, Resist, and Bloody Roots. Come on, boys, come on, let's have a bit of a jam. It's never going to happen. But I don't know why that kind of think people are still thinking that it might happen. The last show is going to be a full band reunion.
Would it happen if Igor took the drum seat, kicked the other bloke off stage, Derek Green disappears, and is that Paolo still on bass, or was he?
Yeah, Paolo Jr.
Yeah, so get rid of the other two. Maybe Max and Igor would be interested in that, but they're not going to. Max is not going to share the vocal duties with Derek Green, is he?
No, because that would make Max and Igor almost validate this version of Sepultura, and they've always said that this is not Sepultura unless they're involved in it.
Yeah.
For them coming out and jamming with them is almost, people want to see it because they want to heal old wounds. And then what they're thinking is if that happened on the final show and they came out and did a jam, would a full reunion then happen? I think that's where people's fans are going with it. They're like, if they could just come out and just jam on the final one, then they know that they'd at least play music together, and then you'd get a full Sepultura reunion. We know that, as you said ages ago, Kirk, 2027 is the 20th anniversary of
2026. It's the 30th anniversary of Roots, isn't it?
So that's when it's going to come back. It's got to. That's what they're going to do, is get this final tour out of the way. And I think probably the reason this is in the news is because no one's given too much of a shit about the final Sepultura tour as it is.
And it's got Obituary and Ginger on it. It's a hell of a lineup. I mean,
I know, but most people are going for Obituary and Ginger, not Sepultura.
The last three albums have been excellent. They've gone in more of a prog direction, but yeah, I understand the controversy. Is it really Sepultura? Do you know what I find Sepultura? They're one of those bands. Everyone who listens to metal knows them. They've nowhere near sold as many records as people think. They could fit in that category. Heavily influential, and I think they've only got one platinum album. Back in the day where that was possible for a metal band in the mid-90s. It's just like, you speak to most people, do they know any records after that 1998 album again? It's probably not. And Andy, I understand. I mean, you still call Derek Green the new singer, don't you? He only joined
New
in
guy.
1998, but yeah.
It's true. The problem was Against was such a bad album generally.
It's
It just
crap.
wasn't great.
It's not crap. It's just, yeah, it was a band in turmoil, wasn't it? But I mean, Andy knows them from the tape trading scene before they even signed to Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Back when he had hair.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last bit of news I had for people to check out is Dino Cazares from Fear Factory has done an announcement or a statement about putting to bed rumors about people have been asking about a Fear Factory reunion of the classic lineup with Bernsey Bell and the guy, basically the demanufacture lineup. And he's just basically said it won't happen. And there's a lot of reasons why it won't happen, but there's a whole thing. It's basically due to the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Where the other guys sued Bernsey Bell and Dino separately. Dino fought his lawsuit and won.
What's the lawsuit? Bad name?
Yeah.
Royalties as well, because
yeah.
so Raymond and
Christian,
that was it. Basically, they sued Dino and Bernsey Bell for royalties because basically Bernsey Bell and Dino had 50% of the name each. So Dino won his case. Bernsey Bell lost his case and owed them $1 million. So he filed for bankruptcy, but he falsified bankruptcy documentation. So he then basically got all of that overturned and had to basically all of his assets were sold off, including the 50% of his 50% of the Fear Factory name. Now, Raymond and Christian bid on it, but also Dino bid on it, but Bernsey Bell couldn't bid on it again because of his bankruptcy status. Dino won it, so he now owns 100% of the Fear Factory name, but he can't give that back to him because if he does give 50% of the Fear Factory name back to Bernsey Bell, Raymond and Christian will then get percentages again back off of Bernsey Bell again because he still owes them money. So there's a whole and he said, look, the problem is with all that going on, getting them all they could get all together in a room somewhere. But there's too much bad blood and behaviors. They're not going to be able to just come out and start writing music again together. So that's why they will not get back together. That's it. That's all I got for news. It was not a lot, to be honest. It's just a lot of talks about new albums and new content. But talking about albums, what have we got coming out this week that was of anyone's interest? Andy, you've got one, I think.
Yeah, I've got one. Again, going to my usual sources for new releases. Dozens and dozens of bands I've never heard of. I mean, there's a few on the list that I have. Laws of the Lost, who I think supported Iron Maiden last year. Rivers on the Hill.
Rivers of Nile.
Nile, is that? Yeah, I know the name, don't know anything about them. And Solstafir, probably said that wrong as well. Again, just bands I know names of, but not ones I listen to or have any real interest in. But the one that I did pick was Australian metalcore band, deathcore band, Make Them Suffer.
Yeah.
They've got their 5th album out this Friday, which is November the 9th, 8th. What's Friday's date?
Yeah, November the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Sharp Tone Records. It's their 5th album. It's self-titled, and it's got 11 tracks on it, including the one that we covered on the channel, which seems a long time ago now. Do you remember Doom Switch?
Yeah, that was like 18 months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Whether that was a standalone single and they've re-recorded this album. We've had sort of 4 or 5 sort of video singles released. So it may well have just been a sort of slow release process. But they've finally got the album out later this week. So that's really the only one that I've got any interest in. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking that one out.
What about you, Kirk?
Yeah, there's some good releases out this week. But can I just say, I love how Make Them Suffer got Andy into like the technical progressive metalcore gent type of music.
Yeah, it's very different, isn't it, from anything I've ever listened to before.
It just connected with you, didn't it? I just remember, and you've referenced them a few times. That's good to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, first record from a band from Scotland called Code Speaker. The album's called Scavenger. They're a post-metal, sludge metal type hybrid, and it features the bassist Callum Craig from that mathcore band Frontiera, who are one of the heaviest bands on the planet. This is their sophomore release, and they used to be known as Danny, Champion of Nothing. So it's released via Ripcord Records. and it came into my inbox from the PR company, and straight away I was like, yeah, they're British, so I always give priority, and post metal definitely for me. The second one, the I don't even know how to describe them. Sam Farrington likes these, Andy. Experimental industrial noise. They're called The Body. And this is the first full-length album since 2021, ninth of their career. And it's called The Crying Out of Things. It's basically just experimental noise with sludgy guitars, really disturbing music. I reviewed their last...
shit.
No, it's interesting. I've listened to something like this. I know I sound, wait, if we're gatekeepers, then
you don't sell it very well, do you?
Experimental.
Weird noises and shit and disturbing. I'm like, it sounds shit.
Yeah, no, that's what I like, disturbing music. And then the third choice is an English extreme metal band from Nottingham called Schreikel. And it's an album called Beyond Subconscious Realms. They're a duo. They were formed in 2016. And it's the follow-up to their 2018 self-titled debut. And I'm just going to give 3 shout-outs people might want to go and check out. Extreme metal band from Australia called Plowshare. They've got an album out coming called Second Wound. An American death grind band called Earthburner. We've got an album out on M Theory Audio called Permanent Dawn. And then there's an English noise rock band called Ritual Error that are releasing their album Dialing the Ghost on TNS Records. So yeah, there's some good stuff out this week.
Yeah. I had 3 as well that I was interested in. So again, I had made them suffer because I was after Doom Switch. But interesting again that they are one of that sort of generation of put a single out, put another single out. So they've done like multiple singles, like 5 singles they've done over the last 3 years, because Doom Switch came out in 2022.
Yeah.
So in the last sort of 2 years or so, 2-3 years, and then they put the album out at the end of it. So it's just why it seems such a long time ago when we did Doom Switch. But yeah, really, and also it's the fact that it's a self-titled album for their 5th one. Most people trying to do the self-titled at the beginning, not halfway through like a career. So it's almost like they've lost. We can't be bothered to call it anything else. We'll just call it.
That's my impression. Yeah, I mean, like Stain's our last album but one was self-titled after sort of 15, 20 years or whatever. It just seems a bit lazy, doesn't it?
It's like, is it a greatest hits then? Is that what you mean? Is it? It's like, come on. It doesn't make a lot of sense doing that. I also had Solstafir and Helga Kval, the Icelandic post metal band from 1995 when they formed. But they're kind of interesting because obviously we're a black metal band. They've transitioned, they've moved forward. So yeah, they're quite interesting. I have checked them out before. Not a fan of their early stuff, but I do quite like what they do nowadays in their post metal. And the other one is the Jamaican Landscaping Company.
Say that again?
Yeah, the Jamaican Landscaping Company.
Is that you're going to be doing some work with them?
They're called Defenses.
What kind of music is it? Progressive metal by any chance?
Yeah, Defenses. Defenses. We've covered them on the channel, and they've got they're a UK London-based metal band. They've got their album out, Shadowlight, coming out on Friday. We did one of their songs. We actually thought they were really interested. I made the Jamaica joke then last time. It's made me chuckle each time I do it.
So what are they actually called, the band then, sorry?
Defenses.
Right, okay. Defenses.
What goes at the bottom of your garden? Defenses.
That weren't Jamaican. God knows what that was.
I don't know what accent it is. I've got a sore throat. That's my excuse for that one. But yeah, I want to check that. I want to check out the new album because I like the single, so I'll be intrigued to see what they're doing there. And they are popping up a lot on like posts about like live shows, so they're definitely progressing up through the echelons of local scenes. So that's really good. That's it. Obviously, tomorrow night we have our 7th of November show, so looking forward to that one. Going to be dead to the world by the time we get to that, but should be a good night. Hopefully people will be coming through the door as well. I'll just start chucking people through the door and just like getting my card with the NFC card reader, just put it up against people's wallets. No, I don't do that. No.
We need that security guard from the Alpha Wolf gig. He can throw people in. Grab them off the street.
Yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for joining us on this week's live stream. We will see you next week on Wednesday when Andy reminds me to set it up like he did this week.
Yeah.
We will see you on another live stream then. Take care.
Bye-bye.
defensive.
We are clear.
Defensive.